Nigeria, the third giant of Africa, marks her 63 Independence Day today. Ordinarily, 6 decades of freedom from colonial imperialism and political slavery should be celebrated. However, Nigerians are overwhelmed by the socio-economic situation in the country to celebrate. For many, there is little or nothing to celebrate about a nation that is rapidly degenerating into a failed state, while others remain Nigeria will rise again.
Well, today marks the 63rd Independent Anniversary Day celebration of Nigeria as a nation. Here with me.
Happy Independence.
Same to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you all doing?
Wow, we're
Doing
good.
great.
We're good. We're doing fine.
Well, today is supposed to be or is the Independence Day celebration, and you know the expectation is to see smiles on the faces of people, celebration, because we are talking about freedom from colonial imperialism. We're talking about freedom from political slavery. We're talking about the current reality of life of Nigerians, because it is today's life. So, of independence, like. What's the current reality of life?
Interestingly, this morning, one of the first things I heard this very morning was someone said Happy Independence, and another person is like, what's there to be happy about? So,
And somebody said yesterday that, see, if you make any mistake today, don't make the mistake of telling me happy independence. Happy about what? But we are alive, we're here, we're like the fact that we're here.
Is it is a happy thing, you know. That's why you will hear people saying, "Don't make a mistake of telling me happy independence," because if you look at it, the person is just saying, "Just detach me from the country. I'm just surviving," and he can simply tell you, "I'm living by the special grace of God, not because there's a government somewhere or there's a country somewhere that cares for me. I'm hustling on my own, and God is taking care of me." I heard someone saying, you know, not too long ago, that what did Nigeria for me, you know, and you start asking so many questions that you can't find an answer. But you know, independence, yes, 1960. Today we are counting 63 years. Just imagine that you're a human being, and then you're born, and then today you're 63. I imagine when you sit down at that your couch, you know, and then you are thinking of those years back, you know, what you have done. Will you be proud? Will you look at your grandchildren and your great grandchildren, and then they will look at you, you know, playing with your beers?
Solomon, the real question is there hope?
Yes, there's hope. That's why in the beginning I said, you know, someone will tell you, detach me from the country. Someone will tell you, yes, there is hope, because I believe in someone that is the ultimate. He will tell you. But to be honest,
But how
there is
possible
hope.
is it that, Prudence, you detach yourself from a country that you live in?
It's a
That's one
mindset.
thing that that's one thing that I really have an issue with. You see, when you say there is hope, agreeable, you can just believe that there is hope. But if we continue to move the way we are moving, or if we continue the path that we have been treading as Nigerians, the mentality that we have towards the nation, the mindset we have towards the nation, when everybody just thinks the best thing that I can do for me is to leave the country so that I can prosper. Like I cannot breathe within the country. I have to go out of the country and breathe outside the country. That's one mindset that would make you say there is no hope for Nigeria, because nobody is. If everybody thinks like that and everybody wants to leave, then who is going to build what we have destroyed? So a lot of times we Nigerians keep saying, some people say we've lost all hope. And why would someone say we've lost all hope is because nobody, from the young to the old, nobody is thinking towards nation building. And people are having issues with that. And that's why if someone would tell you something like, I don't see any hope for Nigerians. Another reason is that everybody says things like, so long as it is our people that are on the throne, we have the whole issue of ethnicity and tribalism. Really massive in the nation Nigeria. If you see a Yoruba man as the leader of the country, the Yoruba takes the chunk of the ministerial appointments or the other appointments that goes on. If you see a Hausa man leading the country, same thing. If it is an Igbo man that is ruling the country, you see that the majority of people that are getting appointments end up or tend to be from his ethnicity. And you begin to hear things like, we are the ones that are on the throne. We are the ones that are ruling Nigeria. It is our turn. And that was a slogan that like really trended during the elections. Emi Loko. It is our turn. So we have that analogy. A lot of Nigerians think that way. A lot of Nigerians think of very selfishly. We don't think with nation building in sight. So if you don't think with nation building in sight, how do you think there is hope? As much as we think of hope, we need to work towards it. Because if we are saying we have hope, then there should be something that we are doing, and we are hoping that there will be a result at the end of the day.
Interestingly, you know, when it comes to change, we often say, oh, mindset, mindset, mindset. And I think this is something that continues to live with us. Like, we need to get to the point where we change our mindset. Like you rightly say, when it comes to administrations, after administrations, what you always hear is, it is our turn. So it's either we take the bulk of the positions, appointments, and do nothing, or we feel there is an opportunity for us to embezzle, for us to equip ourselves with from the nation's treasury. And then coming to the people, we're talking about the current, at 63, the current reality of lives of Nigerians. Prudence, looking back, it almost looked like since securing independence in 1960, like we are still struggling to be a nation. When you look at all the events, the happenings, the challenges that Nigeria is faced with, you can't help but say we are still struggling to be a nation. 63 years since independence. Issue of insecurity is what has continued to live with us. Conflict, ethno-religious conflict, these are things that you often see dwelling amongst us. Issue of political disparities, like, is still living within us. Our economy, dwindling economy, like inflation, unemployment, poverty. These are issues that we keep talking about year in, year out. Administration have come and have gone. It was almost like, oh, it's an issue of this political party. So as soon as they are gone, the next political party, there's going to be hope. Or whoever emerges as the president, oh, it's going to be like a new era, things will change. And shortly after, like that new administration, the next thing you see is that it's like we're still going back to the same issue. You have to deal with the issue of insecurity. You have to deal with the issue of unemployment. The talk about poverty, like, continues. I remember that just last Monday, the Secretary General of the Federation, talking about George Akume, while addressing press conference ahead of the 1st October anniversary, he said this celebration is going to be low-key, and that's because of the current economic challenge that Nigeria is faced with. He spoke about inflation, he spoke about global downturn, he spoke about unemployment, amongst other issues, and he said Nigeria 63 renewed hope for unity and prosperity is going to be the theme. No world leader is being invited. It's just going to be on a low key, the celebration. And a lot of people have criticized that, oh, why are we having low key? That means you need to admit that you have failed, and all of that. Because if at 63 we are saying, no, we have to do it low key, no, let's not invite somebody to come and see what we are and all of that. So why can't we deal with the issue once and for all, so that we can have better life? I was listening to the president this morning while addressing Nigerians, and he was saying, endure. I I was like, when would we stop hearing that?
You see,
Like when we, the Nigerians want results. Earlier it was be patient, now endure. And then there's a package that the president have announced, 25,000 naira allowance. It's going to last for like 6 months for workers. And so after the 6 months, what next? You get
okay, so
my opinion. I was
my question is, within the
25,000
6
times
months.
6.
Okay, so if you're giving that for 6 months, within the 6 months, what are you doing?
well, it's up to whoever will receive it.
What exactly? That's one of it. But apart from that, if the government is giving 25,000 for the citizens within 6 months, what is the government doing? That after these 6 months, how would this
Sustain.
worker, how would this Nigerian continue to sustain himself or herself? But you see, the issue with Nigeria is that we don't have there's a way that we react to a lot of things, and we tend to accept and embrace suffering so long as it is our person that is on the seat. And as I said earlier, we have the whole issue of tribalism and ethnicity, and no, I'm not mixing words to say that there is a whole lot of work to be done for these 3 geopolitical zones or the 4 the 3, yeah, there are 3. They should, for them to come together. They're 6. Okay, 6.
Yeah, 6.
Thank you for that. For the 6 geopolitical zones to come and be united as one, it is going. There's a whole lot of more work to be done, because there are misconceptions and misunderstandings between these people. Even within a state that has numerous languages, you find that there's still misconception between this one and that one. So, because we're not unified, we don't even think of our brother as our brother. We just think of him as another Nigerian. And the way we look at Nigeria is that it is already not, this is not something that we should be proud of. So if you're looking at a fellow Nigerian, you're just thinking, it's just a Nigerian. You're not even thinking that this is my brother that is hurting or not. This is my brother that might need food to eat. This is my brother that might need some sort of care. And since we're not looking at human beings with that kind of empathy and sympathy, that's what we take to rule the country. And so when we're ruling the country, nobody thinks of the welfare of the country. Little wonder we hear things like "let the poor breathe." That's for me, that was an embarrassing statement, because if you really had the
But
poor
what do you
in
think will
mind,
make the poor say that? Because it's almost
They're
like every
oppressed.
policies or the methodologies in implementing policies is meant to suffocate the poor. Because at the end of the day, how many rich people are being affected? Let's say all the queues you see at the feeding station, how many of these politicians,
you
government
don't find
officials,
them
you find them there? Is always the poor. When it comes to transportation, fuel hike, all of that, who goes to the market day in, day out? Some of these people that are heading or at the position of leadership or having political appointments, they have allowances for all of that. It's being provided to them, so they don't even have idea of what the market is saying. So it is you that go to the market every day, and you are like, every day you go, you meet surprises. Today I'm there, I buy something 1,000. Tomorrow you go 1,500. Next tomorrow 2,000, and every day you're asking yourself, what? And people, can you just allow the poor breathe? Because now we don't even have the middle class. It's almost the issue of more people. The removal of fuel subsidy have thrown more people into poverty. And then as we speak right now, it's either you're rich or you are poor. And then every day you go out there, it's one challenge or the other. Now, after the removal of fuel subsidy, school have resumed, and then parents are expected to pay school fees. Those in high institution, charges have increased. So it is the same you with stagnated salary. It is the same you that you don't have access to healthcare facility, that you're paying high transportation, that you're going to pay on high school charges again for your kids. And then, can the poor breathe?
Exactly.
That's
If-
that's the
if
plight
we-
of the average
If we
man.
already had that in place, if we had humanity at heart when we are leading, when you're in place of government and you think of humanity, think of the nation and building the nation, you would have no issue that would reach the point where you as the government will come out and say something like let the poor breathe, because you would have let them breathe. The poor would not be strangled like they are right now. They will not be suffocated as they feel right now.
The situation is critical.
Yes.
That is difficult for a common Nigerian to tell you there is hope. Yes, it is very difficult. If you hear people saying there is hope, it's just that maybe they are standing from the point of their belief. Their religion. Because if you check the common reality, talk about transportation, it will shock you when you go out and you see the number of people trekking.
It has become an association.
It has become an
Actually,
association, and then
association.
yes, and when that thing came out, like people were just,
Are you a
Nigerians.
member?
Yeah, I'm a member. You understand? An active member.
Are you sure you're not the secretary?
I'm an active member, simply because you look at it. Since from the removal of the fuel subsidy, Nigerians were asking questions. That's not just it, but you see, like Nigerians' life revolve somehow the masses around this issue of this let me say general commodity or something, because a farmer needs to transport his goods to the market, and then the business person too also need to if you look at the whole thing revolve around transportation. So when you go, and because earlier you were saying when you go to the market, you meet surprises, because the person will just tell you, I just boarded a car from this place to this place. Yesterday was 200. Today was 500.
They will even remind you that was yesterday.
They will, yes.
Exchange rates every day.
How much is dollar today? You understand? When this administration came, and then with the immediate reversal, and I asked myself, and not just me, Nigerians were asking, when they were planning, when they were campaigning, do they have plans for this? Like, okay, we are campaigning, we are coming, this is what we would do. This is going to form part of my speech. That day I know I will remove subsidy. What is the plan? Does it mean there was no plan? You just remove the fuel subsidy and then you see how Nigerians will react. Then you start thinking of the plan. Since from May 29, there have been meetings upon meetings with the Labour and TUC concerning the plight of the masses. How many, if you check our population, we are over 200 million in Nigeria. How many are workers? Let's be truthful. Let's be sincere to all of these things. If you are talking today, you are adding 25,000 naira to workers. Is it federal or state? If it's federal, how many are federal workers and how many are junior staff? To ask this, we need to ask this critical question, because if you're talking about junior staff, how many are they? Is it the entire workforce in the country?
So it
plus
almost
the
looks
public
like
sector?
we're often fed with promises, because even before now, there were promises of increment of salary yet to be implemented, still at the stage of discussion, negotiation, breakdown between
even the minimum wage.
short-term, long-term, mid-term.
Even the minimum wage that we are talking about, that is
TUC.
constitutional, right?
How
You can
many
check how many states.
The 30,000.
Yeah,
The 30,000.
There are still some states that
Yes.
are not.
That have not implemented that. You see what I was
The
saying.
cost of living continues
To
hike.
hike.
How much
It's
is the mudu
not-
of Gari today? 700, 800.
It's-
Depends
it's-
on the
It's
Type.
disheartening.
the type. You understand? A local rice that Mr. President, block all the borders, that we should go and farm. The same local farm, the previous
President
President
Muhammadu
Buhari. That same rice is the one now we are buying per measure 1,500. Then how much are you going to buy the ones that have been smuggled or imported? You understand? And if you are in the family of 6, You think one measure of rice would be okay? You understand? I was listening to someone was giving was giving an analysis, and he was talking that President Tinubu, he came so that Nigerians will know how to plan. That when they say 3 square meals, it doesn't mean that you must eat in the morning, eat in the afternoon, and eat in the evening. It means you can eat twice and eat good food. You can balance, because if you eat in the morning and you don't need to eat in the afternoon, you don't need to make noise that you didn't eat in the afternoon. I say yes, agreed. But let's look at the reality on ground.
But the concept about 3 square meals is that you eat 3 times. So what exactly is the point this person is making?
A pharmacy made a post yesterday that, please try and eat well. Then someone asked the question, how? How you want to eat well in this current reality? How do you intend to eat well?
You see how funny it does sound even when you speak it out loud. But that's it's not funny. People are facing. People in Nigeria, the Nigerians are suffering. Nigeria is crying and bleeding. You hear of attacks that you don't see on the media. You hear of attacks from minor attacks. Just recently, we heard of a jungle justice that happened and killed a young man. Apart from the fact that we are suffering a bad governance, or we have been suffering bad governance, though we are hopeful that this time around there will be a difference, there will be a change along the way, although it doesn't look promising, but we are hopeful. However, apart from the fact that we are suffering from governance, Nigerians have become, there's no tolerance anymore. Because you're already angry at the fact that you're not getting the smallest things that you deserve to get as a Nigerian. Nigerians now have become angry. The issue of banditry, you find that almost everywhere. Theft. People don't even speak about it anymore because it's like a normal norm. It's like a norm. You just say, oh no, they picked his pocket, we just laugh about it and pass.
I've heard people give excuse for people with such attitude, like, oh, you should understand the times are hard. When somebody just burgle into your house and do this, when someone goes to the market and steal, we are making some of these things that are wrong a new normal because of the current reality of life. But there's no excuse for failure. There's no excuse. We all have our part to play. While I listen to the some of the past leaders and even the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, the likes of Atiku, Muhammadu Buhari, and many others that talk about keeping hope alive, I feel we also have a role to play to actually get the nation that we desire. See, most of these issues revolve around leadership. Leadership. What kind of leaders do we elect? What kind of leaders do we stand or speak for? Because see, the challenges in our country is quite enormous. And until you have the right person with the innovation, with that creativity to face the challenges of Nigeria, we keep revolving around the same circle. It was like, oh, we've been spending a lot of money on fuel subsidy. There's need for the impact, to remove that so that other sectors would not suffer like it has been suffering. Let's make health accessible. Let's make education. Let's have infrastructural development. Let's improve the general welfare of the people. Applaudable. But can Nigerians say at this moment that from the savings of fuel subsidy, they have access to education, they have access to health facilities, they can see infrastructural development? We won't take away the fact that when there are policies, it usually take time for you to start feeling the impact positively. It takes time. But we've heard how that the president over and over again says, oh, we've been able to save this, we've been able to do this, we've been able to do this. At the National Assembly, we hear of alleged distributions of money. With
sending
prayers through email and all of that. There were deliberation about Nigerians receiving 8,000 naira, and that got a lot of criticism. Later on, through the meetings with NLC, TUC, we had that billions were shared to governors, but at this point, these past few months, it's it's something else when you ask the average Nigerian. Now people no longer talk, but they just nod their head. People are living in pain. Like, there is hope, but that hope comes when the system is fixed. You know, we often say the point of change is from the point of taking responsibility. We can't keep hiding our problem under the carpet and expect that a new Nigeria will emerge. We won't take away the fact that, oh, because we are having hope, we won't talk about the suffering that people are going through. There's indeed suffering. Like, people are going through a lot. And this is the time for us to put our hands together to speak against evil. See, even the scripture talk about the fact that, see, when evil thrives, that means good people have continued to be mute. If we don't speak about the evil that exists in our society, then to continue to thrive and life will be difficult. And the worst part of it, Prudence, is the fact that while Nigerians are struggling with lack of basic amenities, like in their own ancestral land, they cannot sleep with their two eyes closed. The primary responsibility of any government is the protection of life. In Plateau State alone, for example, like over 2 decades, issue of insecurity, one local government to the other, one local government to the other. Like Boko Haram have existed now for over a decade. They are still operating in some part of the country. Banditry started like a joke. It's over 4 years right now. Issue of kidnapping just blossomed within a year, and everybody found out that, oh, it's like this is the best trade for me to get into. People travel now with their hearts like almost on their hands. You don't know whether you get your destination or not. Like, the primary responsibility. These things, we're talking about independence. It's freedom. Enshrined in our constitution are the fundamental human rights of every citizen. You have the right to life, right to education, right to move, you have all of this freedom. This is what we should be celebrating, that when you go to the street, you should see people celebrating this freedom that they have and they are able to express. But how many of these fundamental human rights that exist in our constitution that every Nigerian will say proudly, we have been living up to that? Today, when you say certain things, they tell you have the freedom of expression, but after that, you don't know what, it's not guaranteed. The freedom after the expression is not guaranteed. Oh, you have the right to life, but you can go to sleep and not wake up, because some people feel that they have the right to take your life and they come and just slaughter everybody and go scot-free without anybody arresting anyone. There are people that will drop letters in certain locations and say, we are coming tomorrow, and they will come and execute their plan and they will go. We've had situations where students in school have been abducted, and communication to and fro from between the abductors and then the families, or so sometimes you hear that even between governments. And these people are still waxing great. The operation continues. We've had situations where you see a sitting governor having meeting, dialoguing with bandits, even taking pictures with them. Yet this issue continues and nobody is arrested or nobody is persecuted.
Why exactly would you dialogue with a terrorist? You see where we fail as a country. It's like we don't know, we don't have the right priorities. And when I say priorities, if you are talking about security, yes, I know that we are suffering with a whole lot of debts, and are still taking more. We're still borrowing more. But as much as you're borrowing, how much are you sinking into security? We have advanced technology. You could have a lot of surveillance cameras all over the country, and you'll be able to name this thing from its board. You can be able to access these people. You can be able to, we have a lot of excellent minds in Nigeria that can actually be invested into the security, and we would have a way forward. So what is the problem? Where is the break? Why do we keep having this to the point that Nigerians get to a point where if someone is killed or kidnapped, we just say, "Oh, it's their turn now. We just hope that things will get better." And we keep living on hope. Yes, I agree, we live on hope. Yes, you keep living on hope. But sometimes even the hope, you get tired of it. You get tired of hoping when you don't see no result.
You see, there's one time leader of this country that said, if you see any crime, you know, that linger for 48 hours, government is involved. Because if you talk about capacity, when you talk about security, we do have that capacity as a nation. Why? Because we've gone out there for special assignment in other countries, and we succeeded. And some of our men even receive honors, you know, from United Nations. Name them. They're there. If really, truly, we have the political will to drive this nation to greatness, we will, sure. Because if you look at it, okay, now let your phone maybe got missing, someone pick your phone, and then truly you want to recover that phone. Go to the nearest police station, do the needful. I'm telling you, within 48 hours, they will trace where the phone is.
So how comes they cannot trace it?
That means they are working. If truly our security agents want to work, they will work. It's just that the system, like you earlier said, the system is not working. And for us to get it right, we must fix the system. Because just imagine the issue of 5 billion given to each state. And I asked myself, 5 billion, how much is 5 billion?
5 billion.
You understand? But in the 5 billion that we are talking, the federal government say they gave state government 5 billion. The governors are coming to say they only received 2 billion. But the question, where is even the 2 billion?
You know, we are talking about hope
You
for
understand?
Nigeria.
Yes, agreed. It's 2 billion that you guys have received. Where is the 2 billion?
We've seen how some states have used that to acquire mass transit buses, some states fertilizers, and this is to help farmers. Of course, the issue of insecurity have affected a lot of farmers. In fact, I saw a farm where the crops started coming up, but at some level it was there obviously because of lack of fertilizer. And when you check, it's because these farmers cannot even afford it. So for some states, as forms of palliative, they decided, oh, we should provide fertilizer where there's no, if there's no food security, what happens to the people? What happens to people?
You're buying fertilizer. You see,
ahead of next, there are different seasons of farming. There are different seasons of farming.
I agree. I agree. But what we are saying, when did this government started? It was May. Some people haven't yet started farming.
Sam Osulumo, I disagree with you when it comes to when you talk about sustainability of the palliative. I think I have issue with that. But provision of, I think each state is looking at its immediate needs, what the people actually need, based on what was provided. What do you want to give the people? If you want to share this money, how long will it sustain them? If you have a state where their source of livelihood mainly is farming, at that point, what these people want is like the fertilizer will do for them. And then when you have a state where they don't really have access, they don't really go into farming, but they are always up and about markets, buying, selling, providing the transportation, it makes sense. And if you can afford the two, fine and good. But to say that, okay, at this moment providing fertilizer, I think it's wrong, then I think it's a no. Because every state is looking at...
I didn't say it's wrong. If you like, you can buy whatever. But what I'm trying to say is the timing. Is the timing, because you can't come and tell me this. You said something earlier. It's like Nigerians will just accept anything and everything.
We accept.
That comes
I think we should
way.
open our phone line so that Nigerians can call and actually add their voice. So you can actually call us. Let's know what's the current reality of life for you, looking at who we are, where we are, and actually where we're headed. If we're talking about hope for Nigeria, there's actually hope. I've heard a lot of people say, no, there's no hope. What has the country done to me and all? But while the president was addressing us, he said, dear compatriots. So we are Nigerians. We are here. We cannot give up on the nation. This is the only place we can call home. So call us. Let's know what you think. Nigeria is 63. How far? So far. So let's hear your take.
You see another thing that you said, and that's one thing that is key. A lot of countries in the world, a lot of them, plenty, number them, you can count, that are there, that they have their citizens always thinking, what can I do for my nation? But you see, Nigerians, we are designed to accept.
So where
And
would the
not
hope
give.
come from? If we're
No, I
saying that,
disagree with you.
I'm not saying.
We are not designed.
where would the hope come
We are
from?
not designed. You see,
Okay, maybe I used
survive in
the
TV.
wrong word.
Okay.
Maybe I used the wrong word. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times we are just
We are being programmed.
Yeah, it's like we are programmed. It's like we have been
By our leaders.
brainwashed to the extent that we sit down, relax, and we don't do anything to give out to the country. So we are just expecting that the country gives us things. And when you're sitting down and you're expecting that the country just gives you things, then nothing would work because it's a uniformed thing. Why do they say we are in a democratic government? We are in a democratic government so that you would elect a leader. It's a leader. That means this person is leading you to do
greatness.
something great. It's not that this person is the one that is doing the great thing. No,
You know, I always say that
It's
we
a
all have our part to
Yes,
play.
exactly.
There are this set of people that just sit down, fold their arms, and then just expect that everything just
Will
works out.
fall at
Your
their-
leader will do everything for you, and all they do is just point fingers, insult, say all manner of things. And some people will tell you, these people you are insulting, where did they come from? They were led before they become leaders as well. So it's more like a mentality that, see, when it is my turn, when time for election is fast approaching, is our turn. Let's ensure we push our own there, regardless whether it's competent or it's not competent, whether he has the capacity or not. It is just our turn. He should just go and occupy the seat. Then why would we have things working if we're thinking in that direction? See, for us to, we're talking about hope for Nigeria. There is actually hope. But we first must get our system working. We must get our wrongs right.
Right.
See, it was the NLC this morning that was talking about to fix Nigeria. We need our leadership. We need to start from the leadership. We all have our role to play. How do the leaders emerge? Eventually, the president has power to appoint a lot of people. How did the president emerge? What system brought the president to power? So there are a lot of factors to consider. And when you check down, we the people, the power in the people is greater than the power in those that are actually leading us.
But you
So-
see where we
I
have a
listened
problem
to-
now is that the power of the people has been watered down.
So we
But
allow
we-
that to
yes.
happen. Prudence, as we speak right now, the current reality is that people are faced with a lot of hardship. People are suffering. But do you know there are people, you can go on social media today and see same Nigerians, people that are staying in the same community with, that have been staying without electricity for 10 days, tell you that the best government is this government, that government, like they mention political party because it is their own political party that
Not even
emerged.
their uncle.
So they support it. They tell you they don't see anything wrong. Nothing wrong. That, I mean, in a political party, when something goes wrong, I should speak against it. But why would I? Okay, because I mean, this political party is a crime for me to speak when I see things going wrong. Go and see how people are fighting themselves. We're talking about Nigerians. How can we even boast of the power when we are divided? We are a country with diverse ethnic groups. Like, look at our population. A lot of people some people have said, oh, our challenge is our population. But that's not true. I've seen
Supposed to be
countries
our
like
strength.
China,
Yes.
they have utilized their population. You will see
India.
a young person of 20, 22, 23, 24 taking up contract in other countries when they are looking for someone that will consult for a country. When they show you the person. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Emmanuel, thank you for calling. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello?
Go ahead.
My contribution, Nigeria is a failed country. So,
Why do you say that?
I'm not happy in Nigeria. Nothing is working in Nigeria. So Nigeria is a country.
So what, in your opinion, should be done? What can we do to get it working?
Yeah, something for now. Yeah, so there's no deal.
Okay. Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Well, where we struggle with the network, I think I get him. He said Nigeria is a failed country and all.
That's his
But like I
opinion.
said, we have a role to play. Look at our population. If this population is utilized in terms of human capital development, how is our educational system? Are we based on the theory or practical? Like, how do we train from the primary school, secondary, and tertiary institution? What's the form of education? In other climes, you see, as young as a child is, he's already learning something, doing something with his hand, solving problem. But in our country, how far with our certificate? You see certain people, you see a lot of people with certificate, yet they can't solve problem. Like we are trying to just, oh, let's just get the paper, and people don't care. They can just get it.
Good morning, my fellow
Morning.
brothers and sisters in the studio.
Good
Morning.
morning.
We have a brother too.
Today, one with actually no hope in this country. There is no takeaway from the speech of the president today. I had expected that he was going to say something that has weighed the labor from going to on the strike on the 3rd. But I think he has fired down the ball. So my advice to him is that he has to rethink if he wants this country to go ahead. The increment of 25,000 cannot take us anywhere. I had earlier proposed that what should be done is that go back to the time that party to dollar and then increase it by 200%, so that every month salary should be paid based on the rate of dollar. Because this 25,000 now, by next week, it will come down to 2,000.
All right. Thank you. Like, valid point right there. You did just talk about the problem, but you also proper solution. As dollar increase, that 25,000 should.
Yes, because if you look at it, everything now is by how much is dollar in the market.
You know, when I went to the
is
market,
that the equivalent of the 25,000 is 2,000 naira. And that's how it feels when you go into the markets in Nigeria now. You don't understand what is going on anymore. It's like, did I just buy this thing yesterday and I'm back here and I don't?
They even tell you in advance. In fact,
what I'm saying is that Nigeria is just not working, and it cannot work as it's not working.
it cannot work. They won't. Where lies
It's
our
not
fate?
working. Nigeria is not working. Nigeria cannot work.
I'm not
We-
feeling
we-
sad. If it doesn't work, what happens to us?
You see,
We
that
understand
this is
he's
this
frustrated.
he's frustrated and he's hurt. But you see, as I said, a lot of Nigerians really with a very terrible mindset. And earlier on I mentioned,
But would you blame them?
you wouldn't blame them. We have over time been brainwashed. We have over time been allowed to behave the way we want to. And when I say behave the way we want to, you find that you go to a government organization or you go to a governmental parastatal and you find that the workers there are not there because people have decided to be negligent about their work.
Okay.
If you can't
I
give
think
that
we have
much-
another
The
caller.
problem is that all of
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
Please do well to call us back. We'd like to get your take on the current reality of life. I think it's still on.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your comment.
Is this program live?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Go ahead.
Nigeria can work. Nigeria can work. We need a good leadership. Nigeria can work. I believe our leaders, they need us. You see the role today is our leaders, our leaders. They are concentrated. We will have leadership. Not whether it's Yoruba, some have. I believe God has blessed. He has blessed us to go and every other country. People will get good leaders. Someone that have leaders. Many people are clamoring for leadership. They are clamoring for their purpose, for their family, for their tribe. To have somebody that has heart for this country. God will give us the heart for this country.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
And agree with his point.
Thank you
Valid.
so much for calling.
Thank you very much. Valid points. Makes a whole lot of sense. We do need good governance. But as I was saying, we also need to work on ourselves. We can't just expect that someone is going to come with good governance and overnight is going to upturn everything and make it right when we are not giving our own quota. As much as Nigerians are expecting and looking and hopeful for things that would become, for things to become better, but how much are we giving? You see why I mentioned earlier, you find that nations that are working is
How much
because
are you giving me? How much are you giving me? Somebody say.
Nigerians have given a lot. Have given a lot.
Solomon,
I
I speak your mind, right?
I get where you're coming
given
from.
Okay, our time is actually fast spent.
You know
I'll
the
just need
reason-
you all to quickly just, okay, we're talking about hope for Nigeria. Like, where lies the hope?
Okay, so where lies the hope for Nigeria? To be honest, it lies in the unified, like the government and Nigerians being unified and one. What is the government supposed to do? The government is supposed to lead the citizens. What are the citizens supposed to do? They're supposed to follow the government. Where can we get the sync? The moment that we get the sync, the moment that the government and Nigerians are not, they are no longer divided, but we are walking towards one direction, then there is hope. That's where lies the hope, and also the fact that God has given us a lot, and He has promised us a lot. And if we continue to dwell in His promises and we walk right before Him, that's a greater hope.
I think it lies in the hands of the leaders. You know, when they do the right thing, the followers will follow. I'm telling you, and I'm honest, and I'm sincere about this. Nigerians are obedient people. And that's why we still have this country intact. If not, by what is happening, this thing that is happening in Nigeria, 1/4 of it cannot happen in another country, and you still have the country intact. So the leaders have to brace up. You know, they just have to do the needful. They just have to do the needful, because if the leader is doing the right thing, the follower will follow. And I saw in a caption today, they said the rule of law or the rule of man, because in this country we have come to a point whereby the rule of law is being applicable to some certain people, while you see the government, you know, doing what they want. When you talk about the rule of law, like now they are saying when the NLC are going on strike, that they are breaking the rule of law. But you are not doing the right thing as a government. What is enshrined in the constitution, what you are supposed to do, you are not doing. But you are not looking at that part, but you are looking at the action of TUC and the NLC, you know, as bridging the rule of law, you know, going on strike.
It has always been a thing of concern when you see the law interpreted differently. When it favors this party, it's like this. When it doesn't favor, it's interpreted differently. So I think generally we need new electoral paradigm. Like, we need that. So we need our institutions strengthened. We need our leaders to lead right. We need the followers also to adhere, to be obedient as well. Let's be that country that we desire, that country that we need. We can if we put our hands together. We shouldn't continue to allow few individuals to separate us, to cause division amongst us, because the more they cause division among us, the more they have their way, and as they break us, they continue to become strong. These people divide. When they finish dividing you, they go back, they dine together, and we're here languishing in pain. So we need to come to that point of understanding that Nigeria is a great nation. We are blessed with everything we need, that we do not even need to go out. No wonder you see that even the ones that go out, they excel out there. So what's actually the problem? We need an environment that is conducive. We need an environment that is going to empower the people. And beyond just talking about leadership, I think human capital development is also key. When we have that in place, then we all can develop this nation to where we actually want it to be. Leadership is fundamental for the growth of every nation. So we have had different tones of leaders. But the problem is not just about reforms, but I think we need to deal with a character deficiency. Corruption has continued to live amongst us, greed, and if it's not protecting my interest, then I'm not for it. So I think that will be it for this edition of today's Life on the Independence special. Thank you for staying with us. I do hope that we keep hope alive and continue to do the right thing. Until we come your way next time, stay for the next show.